So for the last couple months, we've been a part of a lot of different shows. We've been at different places. We've had press actually come to our studio and we've showed them the thing. Has there been anything that stood out in your guys' mind that kind of like was a really kind of impactful moment of any kind of the shows or demos that we've done over the last couple months that was like, wow, this is a really awesome thing that we're doing right now?
We pretty much gave the fans, like we talked about before, what they really wanted, more violence in the 2D and a lot more of the old school gameplay and feel of the game. So I think that everything went over very well. Like E3 was just amazing. Just the amount of people, just the excitement and the positive feedback was amazing to us. It was just such a good feeling.
Yeah, it really helps to kind of to push us and spur us along to make sure that we don't kind of let down the fans. We built up all this excitement for everybody. We really want to deliver on making the product what it can be.
Like when we were at the GameStop one.
Yeah,
the crowd.
San Antonio.
That was cool footage.
The San Antonio show was really cool. We basically did a gameplay demo where we kind of showed people kind of the, it's a little bit of the E3 demo where we really kind of showed the pillars of the game, this return to 2D, the return to the mature presentation, and then we ended the match with a fatality. So of course that gets like the biggest rise out of the crowd. So, we had this fatality montage that we were showing, but, to get people hyped up, we made people like scream out, all right, guys, you want to see more fatality? All right, on the count of 3, you guys scream Mortal Kombat and then we'll play it. You guys want to see some more fatalities? The guys in the back can't really hear us, so on the count of 3, I'm going to need you guys to scream Mortal Kombat really, really loud so they know that that's the time to kind of play the fatality montage trailer that we put together that has fatalities. So on the count of 3, I need you guys to scream. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You get humbled a lot of times when you realize like how big this franchise is and how many people kind of grew up with this franchise and kind of have these like nostalgic memories in there. So, when you get a room of like 400 people screaming that out at the same time and then you follow it up with like a minute's worth of just like really gory, gruesome fatalities, that was kind of a really like kick-ass moment like of just seeing that. Another good thing that's been happening lately is our outreach to the community. Like we really wanted to make it a point to kind of reach out to the fans. Like really the fan base is what makes this franchise what it is. I mean, if it wasn't for the fans, like Mortal Kombat wouldn't exist at this point. So we've been really trying to make a conscious effort over the past few months to really reach out, to talk to people, at least listen to them. And we can't talk to everybody. There's thousands of you guys out there. We have a limited amount of time.
But I think this is a good segue.
Yeah, but we went on. We've been doing pretty well. We're on Twitter. Hans and I are on Twitter. Rigo's on Twitter. And we actually put this out there a while ago, actually, to kind of send in questions, gameplay-based questions, because people can ask Hans and I questions till they're blue in the face, but we just can't, we can't answer all of them. And I couldn't speak intelligently about a lot of the things that these guys could. Maybe you could. But we wanted to have gameplay-related questions, so we got a bunch of them. So we printed them out, and we're going to ask you guys, and you guys can, I don't know how you guys want to divide them, answering.
We'll just wing it.
Watch them just say, this interview's over, and they all get up and walk out on us.
But something I'd like to throw in first is a question that we get a lot and that I see on the forums a lot is, do we actually read all the forums? So in between,
on page 6 of the forum.
in between like the game compiling and things like that, we do actually go through and read all the major MK websites. So it just doesn't always crack me up because invariably I'll be reading through some thread about who knows what about Sub-Zero or something. I have no idea. And someone will make a suggestion. Someone's like, "There's no way they're listening," blah blah blah. But we read all that stuff. So don't say anything too crazy about us, right?
Yeah. Don't say I hate John Edwards. That guy's such a jerk.
While true, will hurt my feelings.
And also videos too. We've seen like every combo video, every gameplay video, every bug video.
Yeah.
People
check.
For almost
check. We know who you are. Check. We know who you are.
There's pretty much every fighting game out there. We know pretty much everything about those games. Just by that's all we do is we sit around and
we're gamers. We're gamers first and foremost. Like this is our job, but at the core of it, we're all gamers. So we do pay attention to what the community's saying, and if there's a huge, kind of uprise of a comment, we're definitely not going to ignore it. We're definitely going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, at the same time, we're kind of limited to what we can. I can't hop on the forums and answer a whole bunch of questions just randomly because there's certain things we can talk about, certain things we can't.
And there's just a lot. There's if you spend your whole day doing it, you would spend more than a day just answering people. So
Yeah, but I just want everybody to know that we do listen to that stuff, and we do appreciate it, and we appreciate all the fans. And like Paul said, we definitely appreciate crazy combo videos. Like every year or so, an old MK2 combo video comes out, and you're just like, how is that possible that you could do that in that game?
Let's just start off with questions. You guys cool?
Let's do it.
I have a question from Red Cassandra 555. Her question was, do you have any plans on revising the amount of super meter needed to use a breaker or super move? Because it seems like breakers take too long to attain.
So the first thing we probably should talk about is all the footage that's been released up till now. None of the super meter stuff has been tweaked whatsoever. So amount that it takes to do, particular things, attack assists or combo breakers or, X-ray attack, whatever, all that stuff is still definitely in flux.
Yeah.
The other thing is a lot of the footage that people have seen is us playing where we have the cheat enabled, where we can instantly fill the super meter. It will be taken out before the game. But so a lot of that footage is you'll see the meter just go from 0 to full instantly. So a lot of the super meter stuff, like any video that you see right now, don't take that as gospel. Don't think that, oh my lord, this builds up way too fast or way too slow. It's something that's constantly being tweaked and will be nice and balanced by the time the game ships.
Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
Cool.
Here's one. It's from Gwok, Gewok. Question is, will there be weapons in the game or just good old punches and kicking?
Kicks.
Well, some of the characters that have weapons will use their weapons, but there won't be like a weapon in the background you can pick up and use like some of the other games. But like Scorpion, for example, does use the swords in his bag. Sub-Zero can actually conjure an ice sword thing out of them. Nightwolf uses his axe and his dagger in his fight style. So characters will use weapons that make sense for them.
But they're not going to have their own independent weapon
everyone has their own weapon.
Yeah, right. Not like
style.
They don't have a complete weapon style, but something kind of goes along with really trying to get they inject the personality of the fighters in there is to use all of their abilities, right? Even ones that aren't necessarily good enough or more powerful enough to be a complete special by itself. But it's cool seeing Sub-Zero summon a little icicle and jab in the guy's chest in the middle of a combo, or have Kitana actually use her fans as attacks and not only have it for her fan throw or her fan lift. So every character is going to have
unique,
thematic, cool uses for all their abilities, whether it's special move in their X-ray or in their fight style.
Yeah, we're really actively actually thinking about it while we're coming up with the fighting styles. We're like, how can we use the fan in a combo?
Yeah.
What would be cool? Or what wouldn't be cool? So
Like Mileena size, where she can stick them in everything. So.
Yeah. Some cool gameplay stuff kind of comes from that as well. So.
Cool. This is actually a good question because I don't think this has been...
You said the previous two were not good questions?
No, the other two were good questions.
I thought they were good questions.
But this is another one that's even more good.
Oh, more good? Even more gooder?
Even more gooder than even more gooder than that one. Shout out to Mr. Scotis, my high school English teacher. This is more gooder. But I don't think this has been communicated that well. But it's a kind of a big change in the game for the philosophy of the game. And basically what we've done is that we've gone away from high punch, high kick, low kick, to the front and rear punch. And Cryomancer Zero asks, what was the reasoning behind changing high punch to front punch and rear punch? So, if you guys can kind of elaborate on that, because I know, like you said, that's been a huge question on a lot of the forums.
We wanted to keep the look of the past 3D games where some other fighting games do always have the characters with their chest to the screen, and you never see like the full 3D model. The fact that our characters 3D models, we want to make sure that the character is sometimes standing with his chest to the screen, sometimes standing with his back to the screen. And then in doing that, we wanted to make sure that the buttons were still consistent and then consistent for all the characters. Like if you're playing whatever character you're playing, you hit the X button, that's always a punch with your front hand. You hit the triangle button, it's always a punch with your backhand. We wanted that to be consistent, and also we didn't want to just recreate the old game from scratch, because that was also not I don't think people would be interested in just playing an old game with
it's better for us. Paul kind of touched the consistency of it. The other thing is having buttons kind of delegated to specific types of attacks, like high or low, is kind of limiting, because then that means that anything that we throw with a high punch can't hit low, right? So this kind of opens up a lot more avenues for us to play around with alternate inputs, like back and front punch, or towards and front punch, towards back punch down.
We still have some of the button things where back in the rear kick is always going to be a sweep no matter what character you have. Down in the rear punch is always an uppercut. And down in the right punch is always like a little low jab. So characters will have that same type of formula in their fighting style.
Yes, yeah. That consistency, I think, is something that was especially really important to Brian, which was some of the iconic things about the past 2D MK games were, the uppercut, the sweep, roundhouse, things like that. Those are all things that we're going to keep for every character. Now, while everyone's uppercut will look different, everyone's sweep will look different, you can, if you hit back and rear kick, you're going to get a sweep. So there is that level of consistency amongst all the characters, especially for some of those more basic attacks.
Yeah, some of the previous games we had, like attack one would be either a punch or a kick.
Right.
So at least now when you first pick up the controller and you're playing a character, you at least have some sort of basic idea and understanding.
A frame of reference.
Yeah, like, okay, I know, like when I sweep, I'm going to sweep. This guy's in my face, but I never played this guy, then I can, it's kind of a good baseline.
Yeah, that's the other one with the front punch, back punch stuff, is that if I ever hit this button, I'm going to be throwing attack with that limb, the limb that is closest to the opponent right now. So just that consistency kind of helps when because the characters are so different now as far as like their play styles. It definitely helps to have some frame of reference at a base level that people can pick it up and feel comfortable that when they jump to other characters, while they may not know their specials or their combos, things like that, they do have a general idea and they're not having to like relearn the controls every single time they pick a new fighter.
Cool.
I think that was something that was really great about the 2D games as well. Like everybody, you just picked a character and you already, as soon as you played them the first time, you knew basically how initially to play, but then you built strategies, gameplay.
Very accessible to.
Yeah, that really speaks to what we're trying to do with this game, is making the game accessible to those people that maybe haven't played Mortal Kombat in a long time, but still giving that kind of extra layer.
That was something you saw at the trade shows a lot too. People pick up the controller and already automatically knowing how to they're not fumbling with controls. They're instantly doing it.
Yeah, like everyone loves the uppercut, right? That's kind of the MK thing. And so, everyone can pick it up and just start throwing uppercuts, and it feels really cool and meaty when you hit someone with it. Someone's jumping in, you can jab out of the air and things like that. Like that stuff is still in the game and recreated for the new title.